welcome to WomanVision TV. I'm your host, Nadia Giordana, and today it's just you and me. Those of you who know me well, and that's online or in person, already know that a few years ago I lost a significant amount of weight. Now, I didn't do that going through the process of any kind of commercial diet. I did it by devising a plan that involved research, using books, and also some well-respected online websites. One of those websites was the Mayo Clinic website, and they did have an awful lot of good information for me to use. Then, through that process, I needed to come up with some food preparation methods and some recipes that I could use that would fit into my busy lifestyle so that they didn't involve a lot of time or complicated preparation. Today I want to show you two things. The first one is a formula for making soups, and the second is a salad that's in my refrigerator virtually all of the time. So why don't you follow me to the kitchen and we'll see what's cooking. Hi, we're back in the kitchen today. I want to show you a soup that I frequently make. I change it out at different times of the year, but here's the first one that I made, and this is the formula that I use and that I work with each time. It's a chowder. This particular one I make with canned Alaskan salmon. I start with 3 tablespoons of chopped onions and I saute them until they're golden, and I add 2 cups of chicken broth. Now, if I were to be making a vegetarian soup, I might use vegetable broth and change out the salmon or any other meat that I might use at a different time of the year for another vegetable. But this is chicken broth, and the meat today will be canned salmon. I use kale. Kale is wonderful in soups. This one is lightly chopped. You can see what texture that has. And I'll put a healthy handful of the kale in there. Now, to show you what it looks like when you break it right off the stems, it's going to be a lot chunkier and bigger. So you do need to chop that up a little bit so that it won't make big strings in the soup. Get that going. Now, the root vegetables that I'll use once in a while is a daikon radish, carrot, turnip. Today I happen to have simple potato here. These have been left over from something else and diced, but you can start with raw. It really doesn't matter. So I put a little bit of potato into the chowder. Mushrooms is a favorite of mine, so I'll put roughly 1/4 cup of mushrooms into the soup. Again, the quantities I'll list at the end of this video, but they're approximations. We get that to simmer. Put in a little bit of salt, some pepper, and I like to use different spices at different times. Cumin is a big one though. I like that in my soups. And this happens to be a little thyme and marjoram. Other times I might use Italian seasonings depending on the meat that I have going. And I will simmer this soup up until, if the potatoes were raw, you would cook them until they're completed. Oh, here's another ingredient that I can use on occasion. This is optional. I might put just a little bit of garlic powder. And we'll cook this. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Okay, the potato and the mushrooms have completed cooking. The kale is tender. And all I add at this point to make this a delicious chowder, I use a little bit of evaporated milk, roughly for this recipe, 1/4 cup. And I drizzle that into the chowder. Stir that. It's going to be ready to go right now at this point. And that's really all there is to it. It's simple and easy. I use the saucepan because that's what I started with, so you don't have to switch to different pans. And it's one of the recipes that can be done when you don't really have a lot of time. And like I said before, I do sometimes change out the meat. I have used beef and I've used chicken, pork. Everything is the same except for changing out the meat and occasionally changing out the root vegetable. If I were to change the kale, I might use chard or even green beans. Something green would be important to be in this soup. The only thing left to do at this point is to add the salmon. I'll put a couple of nice chunks of salmon in there. It's so delicate that it really only needs to be added at the very last. It is pre-cooked, so I'll put just a little bit of the salmon in there. I don't know, 1/4 cup, maybe up to 1/2 cup. It just depends. This is going to make 2 to 4 servings depending on whether you're doing it for a lunch or a dinner. And then this will warm just for a moment or two. I'll show you right now. This is how the salmon looks when it comes out of the can. It's not overly appetizing. You've got the dark silver skin that's added in there, and even some of the bones, they're very soft. All of that is edible, but I tend to sweep that away when I use it for the soups, just because it doesn't look as good. All right. Now in a moment or so, the soup will be done, and we can enjoy it. Hello and welcome to my kitchen. I think I look a little bit like June Cleaver today, but anyway, what I want to show you is my favorite basic salad. I change it out a little bit between winter and summer, but it's essentially based on 3 main ingredients. I use shredded red cabbage, matchstick broccoli spears, and you can get those already cut up like that at the supermarket if you don't want to do it yourself. Carrot sticks, matchstick carrot sticks, and those are the 3 basic things. Now you can add some other things if you want to. Once in a while I'll add red and yellow and orange peppers, a little onion, and top it off with some romaine lettuce. But here, I'll show you how the salad essentially comes together. Start with the cabbage, add some broccoli spears onto the top of that, a little bit of the cabbage, and then most of the time in the winter I will put a little romaine around to the side. And essentially that's my winter salad. For the dressing, I will take commercial dressings, pour half of the bottle out into another container and fill the bottle the rest of the way up with water, essentially diluting the dressing. It pours much more easily and you aren't getting the heavy salad dressing, but you're still getting the flavor of the full dressing, because the light dressings are sometimes just lacking in flavor and don't taste quite right. Now that's the winter salad, but what I do in the summertime is start with my homegrown spring mix, but you can buy that in the store also. And then I will reverse the method, essentially put a little of the red cabbage on top of that, shredded broccoli spears, matchstick carrots, and again, maybe this time I'll add a little onion and the red peppers and a couple of the yellow ones. And essentially that's the second salad. Now when I make this up ahead of time, I will take the shredded red cabbage, and usually I will store it in a plastic bag like this, but I'll mix all those 3 ingredients together so I don't need to pull them together the way I did right here. They'll all 3 be mixed, and then you build your salad with that. Pull it out of the refrigerator, and it's 1, 2, 3, go.